the thoracic vertebrae. Okay, and here's a picture of thoracic vertebrae. We know a thoracic vertebrae because the spinous process will point downward. It slopes downward pretty good. Okay, and so we have 12 ribs. 7 of them will go directly from the thoracic vertebrae to the sternum. 3 of them will go from the thoracic vertebrae to cartilage to rib number 7, and we know those as the false ribs. The last 2 ribs, and I'll go through on the skeleton, are the floating ribs. So let me go through the parts, though, of the rib itself. This part right here is the sternal end. So it would look like this. That's the sternal end connecting to the sternum. So you'd have cartilage here and connects to the sternum. You got the body. Here's the angle of the rib. All right. Then if we go to this part that's connected to the vertebrae itself, right here, connected to the body of the vertebrae is the head. Then you have the neck of the vertebrae, and here's the angle of the vertebrae. So here's the angle. Now some identification points on the rib itself. If you look at your sheet, it should state facet for body of vertebrae. So again, a facet is a flat part of a structure that articulates, has movement. The facet for the body of the vertebrae is this piece right here. So this is the part that connects to the body of the vertebrae. So to show you, it goes like this. Facet, body of the vertebrae, they connect right there. The other facet you need to know is the facet of the transverse, which is this piece right here, because it connects to the transverse process of the vertebrae, so it goes right there. So we have 2 facets, facet to the body and facet to the transverse. You with me? Word. Now, tubercle on the rib is right here. It's a bump. Again, tubercle from the previous practicals is a bump. All right. So, let's go through it real quick. Head, neck, facet for the body of the vertebrae, facet for the transverse, angle, sternal end. And that's your rib. Let's go to the rib on the whole skeletal system. So, your ribs, again, all come out of the thoracic vertebrae. That's a big identification point. So, here are your thoracic vertebrae, all 12 of them. Here are your 12 ribs. This part right here on every one of the thoracic vertebrae is your transverse process. It sticks out. Trans means across. So here's the central part of your vertebrae. This goes across this side and this side. Rib 1, rib 2, rib 3, rib 4, 5, 6, 7. These first 7 are your true ribs. 8, 9, and 10 are your false ribs. Then you have your 2 floating, because the sternal end does not connect to anything. So if you look at it in the front side, anterior side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the cartilage connects to the sternum. These 3 have the cartilage connect to rib number 7's cartilage, and that's why they're called false. And then your 2 floating. Manubrium is this top part here where your clavicle is attaching. Body of the sternum, then the xiphoid process. Is that little point. Okay, so you can feel it on yourself. Right there. Body, manubrium. Alright, so that's your thoracic cage. Alright, and identification pieces. Alright, let's go to the vertebrae. So if we take a look at this guy, posterior, you got the coccyx, and then you have the sacrum. 5 fused vertebrae right here. It articulates with the ala portion of the os coxa. Ala is the wing, like a butterfly wing. Alright, that's the sacrum. Let's go through the vertebrae. We have 7 cervical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, these are all cervical. Then you have 12 thoracic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you have 5 vertebrae, or 5 lumbar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Identification pieces for this. The spinous process will indicate not only the type of vertebrae, but also how it's shaped. These first 2 vertebrae, C1 and C2. C1 is your atlas. It is the one that connects to the occipital condyles right here and allows us to articulate our skull. It does not have a body. No body on this one. It does not have a spinaeus process. C2 is called the axis because it has what's called a dens. So here's C2, an individual C2. The dens sticks up. All right, this is our second vertebrae. Here's the atlas. Sits on top. All right, one of the parts on your paper talks about the articulatory facet for the dens. That is this piece right here on the atlas. It's the interior part of the atlas that sits there and allows for rotation. Okay. The spinaeus process of the cervical become greater. So 1 doesn't have any spinaeus process, 2 has one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very long, thin. All right? And then once you get to the thoracic, you could start to see, if there's an angle, if you guys can catch the angle, they start to shape downward. All spinaeus process have a slope or a shape that goes downward. That's how you know which side is up. And I'll show that in a second. Then once you get down to the lumbar, they're very thick spinaeus process. So if you get confused on which is which, look at the spinaeus process. They're all different shapes. All right, so that's the overall view. Now let's go to the individual parts. All right, so here is your atlas. On the atlas, okay, this is the superior view. You have the facet for the dens, which is right in here. So again, I'll put it right in there. Okay. These facets here are the superior facets. Okay, this is where the occipital condyle sits of your skull. These are your transverse process, so they go across. All right, again, this does not